Hello, my lovely frugal friends. How are we all doing? I hope you are doing well. I'm Samantha. This is the channel Trying to Get By. I recently went out with some friends of mine. We only meet up twice a year. We've been doing it for 20 plus years. We all were on a course together and stayed in touch. And we went to a really nice Greek restaurant. And I had a dish called Revithia, I think it's pronounced. It's basically like a chickpea stew. It was super, super delicious. I had it with some Greek roast potatoes, which were also super delicious. And while I was looking at the dish, I kind of looked and thought, I've got most of this stuff at home, so I'm going to have a go at making it because I wanted Chris to try it. He's not had this dish before, and I thought, you know, it's a pretty decent dish to do. So I knew that because we had had all our super vegetables that we got from our Easter hauls for the supermarkets who were doing really good low cost vegetables for Easter, that this would be a really super low cost dish. So I'm going to make it, and at the end we're going to calculate how much it cost us. Right, here are the ingredients that we're going to use. So what have we got? So the main part is the chickpea stew. So we've got the chickpeas. I've got some fresh tomatoes. I've got these in an oleo and they need using up. So I'm going to pop some of those in. We've got tomato puree to make that nice and rich flavour. We've got carrot and onion to chop up and dice to start with. I've also got some of my home canned tomato sauce, which is essentially just tomatoes that I grew in the garden that I cooked down last year. So from September last year, so they've done really well. If you've not got anything like that, just use a tin of tomatoes and blend it. That's the easiest way to do it. We've also got some garlic, some oregano. Oh, missed this one. Got a little bit of chilli there. Potatoes, lemon, olive oil. The garlic, the oregano is going to go in both dishes. So the main thing to do to start with is obviously, as most things do, start with an onion. So we're going to chop the onion, chop the carrots and get those going in a pan. I have cut the carrot into tiny dice. I cut half the onion into a tiny dice and the rest of the onion I left just in half moons essentially, just because I wanted a bit of textural difference there. The next thing I'm going to put in is some garlic. So that's about 1, 2, 3 garlic cloves. There we go. Just let that do its thing for a second or two because I don't want to burn the garlic. Then I'm going to put in some tomato puree. There we go. So that is 1, 2, 3 teaspoons, so a full tablespoon, so about 15 mils of tomato puree, and we're going to cook this down to get rid of that raw tomatoey taste. There we go. So leave that doing its thing. In the meantime, what I have done is chop my tomatoes in half. Those are going to go in much later, and I'm going to prepare the potatoes now. So in here we are going to put a good amount of garlic, again probably 3 or 4 cloves of garlic because we want plenty of flavour in there. Then we are going to zest the lemon because we want plenty of lemony flavour. So just make sure your lemon is an unwaxed lemon because you don't want that kind of thing in there. You can tell that normally by scraping your nail on it, or it should say on the packaging if it is. This is the reason why some, strangely, lemons and oranges might not be suitable for vegans, if you didn't know, because of what they use as the wax, because a lot of vegans will not have bee products, so no honey, but also that means no beeswax, which can be used sometimes. There we go. So when you've got all of that off there, don't forget to check the back because that's where it all ends up sticking. I'm just going to cut this in half. Doesn't look like there's many seeds in this side, but I'm just going to do the hand trick. Oh, there we go. There's a seed. And get plenty of this lemon juice in there. There we go. And the other one, which looks as if it has got more seeds. Oh yeah, oh, one escaped. This was definitely the side with the seeds. There we go. Where's that extra one? Right, just give my hands a wash. Just a quick mix back up in here. Do not worry about that stuff at the bottom. That is fond, that is not burnt. That will scrape off and add flavour, particularly in this pan, because it does get quite hot. But keeping an eye on it, and you can see there is no burnt elements on anything there. But we are going to put in the chickpeas. So there'll be a little bit of water from there. And my tomato. Oh, lid off. And that will enable lots of that to come off the bottom once it gets there, which you can see has started to lift it. So we're just going to leave this doing its thing. This is going to enrich, and we're going to add some oregano. So about 2 teaspoons of oregano, a little pinch of chili, not too much because this chili is quite potent, little bit of black pepper, and we're going to turn it right down because this pan stays very hot and I don't want it to scorch or cook down too intensely. A nice slow bubble. So I'm going to leave that there because that's safe. I don't know if you can read that. Good thing about this is it's safe up to 220 degrees. So that's not going to do anything. Turn that down. Put that on. Back to the potato mixture. There we go. So we've got that. So we want some oregano in here as well. About another teaspoon of oregano in there. And about a teaspoon of olive oil, and we'll just give that a good mix. There we go. So that's ready for our lemony potatoes. I'm going to do a little bit of a tidy up, chop those potatoes up, just get rid of the bits and bobs that we don't need while we are getting organised. This has been bubbling away for about 30 minutes now, so I have been in once and give it a mix in between time. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to add all these lovely fresh tomatoes in there and pop them just underneath so that they can start cooking down, leaving that to do its thing. On to the potatoes. Give these another mix. So all I did was dice those potatoes up nice and small and pop them in the bowl with all those lovely ingredients that we had in there. And we're going to go in the air fryer with these. Beep. This is going to make a mess. So if you do have air fryer liners, I'd probably use them. I haven't. So the main thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to pour it in. I'm going to scoop them up, give them a little shake so that they're not absolutely dripping in all that marinade that I've just put on them, because we're going to use some of that in a little bit, because we're going to put these potatoes in for about 5 minutes and then I'm going to take them out and I'm going to put them back in the marinade just to make sure that they get super duper coated. Right, there we go, last little bit. There we go. Oh, whenever you're trying to get the last things out, you always end up not being able to get that last one. Got it, right. So we've got marinade left. I'm going to, like I say, these are going to go in for 5 minutes in the old air fryer. Air fryer, preheat off, turn reminder off because I can't be bothered to remember. Time. 5 minutes. Temperature, I don't want it screaming hot, so I'm going to go to about 186. You judge it based on your air fryer, and let's start. Right, I've had my 5 minute beep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all these back in to our bowl. with that lovely marinade again. There we go. Careful that the bottom bit of my air fryer doesn't fall out, as it often does. There we go. Get them all back in. Oh, and that last one without the air fryer falling back out. Give it another mix. Now I'm hoping that this is just going to enhance the flavour and just give it another coating. I read it in the recipe. I'll put links, as I've probably said, to all the recipes that I used for inspiration in the description box. Right, that's going to go back in there, and we're going to cook these for probably another 10 to 15 minutes until they are crispier and they are nice and tender. So I've just had the potatoes on warm because my daughter just phoned. So this does a really good warming function. It just keeps it at a low temperature for 30 minutes. It starts it out. So let's cancel that and that. Turn that off because it's noisy. Have a look at those. They look really, really good. Now I do still have a little bit of the sauce left. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop these in quickly and just give them a quick last minute mix. Then we're going to dish up round here. So we have got our stew. We have got a spoon. We're going to pop some of that on there. There we go. With some of our garlicky potatoes and lemon. Super duper. Let's have a quick taste of the two together. Make sure we get one of these lovely fresh tomatoes in there that have slightly cooked down. Really, really good. So I've done some calculating, but first of all, that was so delicious. A really hearty, flavourful dish to have for tea. We really, really enjoyed it, and Chris really enjoyed it as well. Those lemon potatoes were absolutely gorgeous. So I've done some calculating. Now I've worked this out two ways. The first way is based on if you were buying all the ingredients from the supermarket at the prices that it would have cost, including the cheaper vegetables. So the chickpeas would have been 49p, the tomatoes would have been about £1, puree would have been about 8p for that much of a the puree, carrot would have been about 2p of carrot, 2p of onion, 49p for a tin of tomatoes, 10p for the garlic, 5p for the oregano, 5p for the chilli, potatoes would have been 5p, the lemon would have been 30p, and it would have been about 8p's worth of olive oil. So in total, at the full price, that came to £2.73 for that meal. Now that was a meal for the two of us, which was very filling, plus there were leftovers of the stew that I had the next day. However, based on my prices for me, it worked out quite a bit less. I got the chickpeas for free because I had vouchers when I was buying chickpeas from Sainsbury's. The tomatoes I got for free on Olio. I still paid 8p for the puree, 2p for the carrot, 2p for the onion. My tomatoes I class as free because that comes out of my gardening budget. So whatever I plant in the garden, I have a gardening budget for that, and therefore whatever produce comes from that is out of that. So for me, that was free from the food budget. Garlic still was 10p, oregano 5p, chili 5p, potatoes 5p, lemon free, Olio, and I paid 8p for my olive oil. So for me, it was 45 pence for that whole meal. So that's less than 20, that's about 20p a portion, if that. Because like I say, there was a third portion left over of the stew at the end. Plus, it was super, super delicious. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed finding out a little bit more about how the prices we pay for our meals. Let me know in the comments if you would like a bit more pricing done on some of our dishes so you can see what we're paying and how we're keeping our grocery budget so low. Don't forget to do the liking and the subscribing. If you are interested in other meals, I will pop a really nice recipe over here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.